Life is a journey filled with twists and turns, complexities and moments of triumph, and within this complicated tale of existence, individuals navigate a web of societal pressures, cultural norms, and relentless demands of modern life. Join me, Patricia Waithera, today as we navigate the battle men fight silently. In the world of silent struggles, there exists a realm rarely spoken of, a landscape of emotions, fears, and battles fought in solitude. Today, we embark on a journey into the depths of men's silent struggles, exploring the untold stories, unspoken fears, and hidden burdens carried by men. Men often are portrayed as pillars of strength. They are not immune to the silent storms that rage within. Beneath the facade of stoicism lies a complex range of emotions, loneliness, insecurity, and vulnerability that are too often overlooked and misunderstood. According to a recent study, approximately 30% of married men in Kenya experience symptoms of stress and anxiety related to financial pressures and marital discord. Amidst the silence, there are whispers of pain, of battles fought in the shadows. Meet James and Joseph, men burdened by the weight of societal expectation and internalized struggles.
Money is a balance of everything, and with a man being dependent, okay, with a man with so many people depending on a man, on a male figure, okay. If you don't have money, trust me, I don't want to say you are a failure, but it's one of the biggest challenges.
As a family man, whenever you don't have enough or you are not stable financially, sometimes you suffer because the family depends on you, relies on you. So whenever the family or the wife asks you for some money and you don't have, emotionally you go down and you cannot tell someone or you cannot speak out because you have felt unaenda chini, yani because hauna hiyo pesa na chenye umeitishwa you cannot provide.
Joseph and James' stories are just some of the many testaments to the silent struggle endured by men from all walks of life. But what drives the silence? What compels men to suffer in solitude?
Society, like today, as a man, the man is dependable to many people, and that's why he has to work very hard for those people who are depending on him so that they can get whatever they need.
Societal norms, cultural expectation, and ingrained stereotypes often dictate that men must be strong, unyielding, and unbreakable. Vulnerability is perceived as weakness, emotions as liabilities, a narrative that silences the cries for help and perpetuates the cycle of silent suffering.
Well, what it does, it gives you an internal pressure, and in this case, you might find you are not able to express yourself out there. So what it does, it affects your mental well-being, because now the people who depend on you, you can't go crying to them that I'm unable to do this, I'm unable to do this. For information, the same people who depends on you, if you are unable to do certain things, some of them might leave you. Some of them might call you a failure. Okay? So it affects you mentally because you cannot go there to express yourself. What you do, you live with your troubles inside. To a point, you stigmatize yourself at someone. You find yourself you're kind of an introvert, yet I don't think there's a man who is an introvert. Okay, so that's the whole concept of how mental issues affect men. And for your information, stress and anxiety, it's brought by all those pressure from outside, which affects a man internally.
Sometimes when I'm like that, I may not be able to speak out. So I keep it for myself until I get the money. Whenever I have that, I'm financially stable, I I have a lot of peace. But whenever I'm down financially, even that peace I cannot have.
But amid the darkness, there is hope, a light illuminating the path towards healing. It begins with breaking the silence, shattering the barriers of stigma and shame that confine men into their solitary struggles. Courageous men like James and Joseph are leading the charge, stepping out of the shadows and into the light of vulnerability. Their voices, once silenced, now echo with resilience, strength, and the power of shared experience. Within the sphere of mental health, professionals play a crucial role, providing support and guidance to those traversing the intricate landscapes of their inner lives.
WHO, World Health Organization, has its reports out, and their statistics they're staggering in terms of even how worse it is. Unfortunately, we seem not to have consistent records that actually support these numbers. But as it is, in terms of even the news that we have being broadcasted about the occurrences of people dying by suicide and taking their own lives, especially men, it's quite astounding. But yes, those numbers they're representative of what is happening on the ground.
Men generally have been imposed on to be stoic. So you're not supposed to cry, do not complain, do not show any form of weakness. So whatever troubles bedevil you inside your head, they are yours to keep and not the world to know. And so you don't have any other place to take this pressure. So when it becomes too much, you end up saying no one will understand, and death is an easier out.
Of the fact that women have very strong coping systems. Unfortunately, men, even amongst ourselves, it's a challenge even coming out and saying, I need help, or reaching out. And as I said, we are not supposed to show our weaknesses. Even some reports indicate that there are men who would be happier going for a prostate cancer test than going to a psychiatrist. If you look at that, and it's actually a proven report coming from also a global mental health organization, which indicates that it's that bad because of the stigma and because of the fear that you might tell a friend, I think I need help with my mental health challenge, that will bring out your weakness, that it will show you have a weaker side to you. And he's very right. We are wired, of course, by the society, how we've been brought up, not to show these emotions. Unfortunately, we do not know how to be vulnerable. A bigger general and a very sizable number of us men do not understand how to embrace. And that's why you get the case of toxic masculinity coming into the place, because we are trying to prove that stoicness, trying to prove, okay, I'm a man. And you'll be suppressing all these emotions. And these emotions should actually be working for us. Our vulnerability is supposed to work for us, not against us. But unfortunately, we've been wired over years and over time to always imagine I need to protect my emotions. I don't need to sit down with another man and talk about how my well-being is. Yeah, so that's where the challenge is. Women, you've got a fantastic support system, which is really works very well, and you're good at embracing your emotions and your well-being. Sometimes very unconsciously, because that's how you're wired. You've been taught how to take care of how you feel. You can easily share, you can easily open up without feeling being judged. Because the other, on the flip side for men, is that we'll always feel as if we're being judged if we showcase our weaknesses, our vulnerability. But actually, if you embrace it, it actually works for you. But this is the journey that we are on.
Yeah.
It's part of the conversation.
One of those things that naturally humans do,
Exactly.
whether man or woman. Naturally, you never look towards you. You tend to think the other party is
Has a
on
problem.
the problem. So you're mirroring your issues that way. They never come this way. If you look at Michael Jackson's song, he says, I'm scared of looking at the man in the mirror, because this is something about introspection, is that it forces you to look so deep within you that you'll find this ugly monster, and you're like, no, I'm not this way.
Or I'm not ready to deal
I'm
with
I'm
this.
not ready to deal with this. And so you're like, no, I'll put it off till whenever. And then things become worse.
Yeah.
And when they're at the worst is when now you're like, okay, then perhaps I'm the one who's in the,
In most cases,
yeah.
worst comes to the worst, especially now the discussion is about men. It only hits you when it's at the worst.
When you're literally crawling.
So
When you're
yeah, for
flat
example,
foot down.
if I may use my example, considering some of the trauma I amassed in life, being molested, watching my parents' marriage crumble, being expected as a firstborn to always be at the top, you're not allowed to fail. You're basic. I like to joke and say, firstborns are test tube babies. You're the experiment. So if it works for him,
Yeah.
it works for the rest.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day.
But when I think in 2018 December, that's when I realized now things are bad, because I was having anxiety attacks and suicidal thoughts, and it wasn't the first time. It was just, okay, now this is definitely wrong. But prior to that, there was something that led to me now having to go between stress, depression, and suicide within 1 week.
Wow.
And so, and I put a tweet, and I'm like, okay, fine, whoever sees it, well and good. And fortunately enough, the few people actually who responded were men that I have come to become very close friends with now. Yeah.
Excellent. As we've heard, men's biggest challenge is money. A man with no money is vulnerable and lacks confidence. This causes them anxiety, and it's get bad, and others sink into depression.
As a man, men are always under pressure, and like me, a family man, I have to provide for my family, for my kids, and a kid cannot ask for something nikose kumpea. I will do anything to provide for that kid and for my family, whether niko job ama si uko job, lazima familia ikule. So lazima nijitolee mahali popote nitakuwa, nijue lazima familia ipate daily bread. So also, wakati mwanaume hana pesa, utapata ameji-exclude kwa mabeshte, kwa sababu because of a low esteem, yani hataki kutokea mbele ya watu bila kitu, na maybe hao mabeshte wana expect wa support in one way or the other. So itabidi tu umejitenga kidogo mpaka upate do. And I think power ya mwanaume ni mfuko, ni wallet. Bila pesa mwanaume ni ngumu kutoboa. Lazima atapata stress, lazima atakuwa under pressure.
It was part of that journey, and it reaches a point where that journey, you'll try and do everything against what actually you're supposed to be doing, against what is right, because you're thinking from that manly point of view. I'm not supposed to be going through this. Let me try and do it a different way. But you're not really reaching out. So you're trying to deal in that. Remember, depression is, which is what I went through, is like a prison with no key, and the thoughts are the lock. So you keep on fighting with these thoughts constantly in your space, that prison. And for me, it reached a point, the first time when I tried to actually out myself is when I just I got a flicker of sense, no, there's more to this than just, but I was still going through my journey, and that's when I decided, and remember I'd gone through this, before I went and knocked on my mom's door, it had been a journey of about 2 years, between 2015 and 2016. And that period was when I just kept everything and normalized in my own way. And that now forced me, when that flicker came, got that place now to put my head down, which was just go back home. So I still had to fight with the decision that, Eddie, are you doing this? You're 39 years old. So I was already judging myself
Yeah.
with what will my friends think when they see me walking out of my folks' gate going to work. But I sort of now dealt with that because I could only stay in my friend's house for so long because I'd just been auctioned.
As we continue our exploration of men's silent struggles, let us heed to the call to listen, to empathize, and to support. I encourage men to seek help from family, friends, and professionals. Let's face it, marriage and money can be a wild ride, but together, let us break the silence and create a world where men feel empowered to seek help and embrace their vulnerabilities without fear or shame.